Are you a spiritual entrepreneur who's just wondered how come the money doesn't seem to roll in? I know that I wonder that. And my guest today, Kathleen Gage, I know you know her because she is from StreetSmartsMarketing.com, and you can find her at KathleenGage.com. And I'm going to ask you right now, Kathleen, why doesn't the money just roll in when we're trying to make our living and we're spiritual beings?
Michelle, that's a great question, and I think part of it is a conflict of beliefs, because some spiritual people, and I know I was this way for a long time, if I'm spiritual, I should be so humble that I should be broke. Or if I'm spiritual, I shouldn't charge for the gifts that I've been given, because all of us who really get that we have a spiritual gift and it can be incorporated into business, we know we've got a gift, we've got a talent, and if we don't, if we haven't resolved the fact that it's okay to charge for that, because energetically it's just about energy exchange. That's what money is. It's an energy exchange. And I think where the challenge comes in is that it could be beliefs from childhood. It could be beliefs from any spiritual teaching that we've had. And it could be that we just haven't resigned in ourselves that we deserve to make good money. But the thing that I like to reframe with money is that the more that you bring in, the more good you can do in the world. For example, I'm very into animal rescue, and I donate a fair amount of money, and I have 7, 8 animals that most of them are rescues. And we're talking 3 horses, 2 cats, 2 dogs, and a goat. They're pretty expensive. And if I didn't have the mindset of, okay, I have this gift to share with the world and I should be compensated for it, I couldn't take care of the animals. And that's part of my spiritual process, is taking care of the animals. So I think a lot of it is we just haven't resigned the belief that it's okay to charge for our services.
All right, and I want to go back to that in a minute, because I know some people that's really going to resonate with them. They're going to go, oh, that's me. And other people are going to say, you know, I used to make really great money in my corporate job, or I used to make really great money being a massage therapist, and now that I'm switching to more energetic work, or now that I want to be an author, it's not translating. Is there something happening in the consciousness or something inside ourselves that stops that from translating?
Absolutely. Starving artist mentality. How often have we been told that if you're going to be an artist, you have to starve to make it before you ever make it big? And I think a lot of it is, again, that conditioning that if we are in a conventional environment, like a corporate environment, then we're going to have the abundance. But if we strike out on our own, for some reason, there has to be a struggle there. And I went through this myself. I mean, there was a period in my business that I wasn't doing well, and I struggled, and I thought, how am I going to pay the mortgage? And I really had to come to terms with that the gift I've been given, it is okay to charge for, and it is okay to have a lot of abundance. And the more I worked on that, the better it got. Also, it's about being willing to gift part of what you have to other people. And I don't necessarily mean the services in your business, but there's a whole tithing process that goes on. And it's really interesting, because at one point I was really struggling in my business, and it was brought to my attention that I hadn't tithed in a while. So I took the very little money that I had, I took 50% of it, and I gave it to a spiritual organization. And within probably 3 or 4 days, I had over 10 times the amount returned to me. And so there is something to be said for that. What you put out, you get back 10 times. But there's also the need to release the expectation of where it comes from. And I think that's part of the challenge, too, is we sometimes get in this mindset that our abundance has to come from one channel. And the reality is there's many, many, many channels that it can come from. And it can come in different degrees. So I think a lot of it, again, are the beliefs that we've been taught, that there's only one way you can make money. And if you're in a corporate job, then you're going to make money. But if you dare to deviate from that, and I think there's more and more of us who are stepping up to say, no, it doesn't have to be that way. And we can look at other people and say, wow, if they can do it, I can do it.
Tell me what the one biggest mistake is that spiritual entrepreneurs make in their business when they're making that shift into creating their conscious livelihood.
Oh, I love that question. I think the one mistake they make is they think they can sit on a mountaintop, meditate, and attract it all to themselves without any action. And I'm a it's like, let's just sit here and go, and it'll all come to us. Now, that may sound like I'm mocking meditation and law of attraction, all that. I'm not. I'm very into law of attraction. I meditated this morning to a Michael Beckwith tape. I mean, I very much put into practice the things that I believe help me energetically to move along. But I think part of what the problem is many spiritually driven people think that they don't need to put action behind the vision that they have. And the reality is that you have to pray and move your feet. You have to take action behind the vision that you have. And again, release the expectations of how things should come to you, because they can come in the oddest of ways. It's like if you get this thought, well, I should go to the grocery store today that I don't even go to. Go to that grocery store because you never know who you're going to meet. There's these little signals that we get that guide us along, but many times we intellectualize those signs that we get and those messages we get to the point that we devalue them or we invalidate them. But I think the biggest mistake is that there's not enough action behind the thoughts that people have.
Kathleen, I get what you're saying, that we have to do the action. Yet, where's the line? What's the difference between busy work and taking appropriate action? How can we discern the difference?
Oh, you are asking great questions, Michelle. Busy work is where, let's say that you're going into your email 10 times a day. That's busy work. Or you're organizing your drawer, your junk drawer. You organize it 10 times a day. Busy work are those things that are not going to produce a result that will monetize your business, or it's something that you could delegate to somebody else. That's another mistake that many times solopreneurs make, is they don't delegate, they don't outsource different jobs that somebody else would have a better, they would be in a better position to give you a greater result, so you can free up your time to do what is going to generate the greatest amount of revenue for your business. For example, I delegate when I do joint venture partnerships. I have a program manager who goes out and connects with my joint venture partners. She handles all the paperwork. She actually handles my interviews. She takes care of all the detail work so that I can focus on the bigger things in my business. And one of the things that solopreneurs often miss is they need to be a visionary for their business, and then they need to put in place those resources that will help them to manifest the vision. But it's in degrees. It's not going from having no help to having a team of 10 people. It took me a few years before I got my team together. I now have, I think it's about 6 or 7 people at any given time who are doing things for my business. And these are like article submissions, for example. If I was the one submitting my articles, that's busy work. And so it's really looking at where's the return on the time invested.
You do a lot of disseminating of information. You have articles. You're on Facebook. You're on Twitter. You're everywhere. You've got all kinds of landing pages and joint ventures going on. For most people who do internet marketing, that's really overwhelming. And yet you teach this. How can you distill it down to one place where people should start? Should they start Facebook? Should they start with a sales page? Should they do joint ventures right away? Choose one place to direct people.
Okay, the very first place I would say to start is identify your market. And until you identify your market, none of the other stuff really makes sense. For example, I have a client that we found out through him really getting clear on who his market was. LinkedIn was the place that he needed to spend his time. He was spending his time in Facebook because he heard everybody needs to be on Facebook. But then when we really refined who his market was, LinkedIn is definitely the place. He works with white-collar corporate job managers and engineers and things of that nature. And so until you identify your market, you really can't decide where to spend your time. Another thing that really helps in a business is to block out periods of time during the day where you will do your social marketing, where you will do your article writing, where you will do your phone calling, whatever it may be. But give yourself a time limit. And once that time limit is over, stop. But, excuse me, the thing that I see people make a mistake at is they throw a whole bunch of stuff up on the wall and they hope that it sticks. Before you find the wall to throw stuff up on, you have to know which wall you're throwing at. So identify your market before you do anything else, and identify your expertise. What do you bring to the table? What do you bring to the party that's different than anybody else? And you may have similarities, but one big question that needs to be answered is, why would people pay you? What makes you unique? And it's your experience. It's you bring you to the table.
Yeah, wherever you go, there you are, and that's what you have to offer. Yeah. You've given us so much information in just a short amount of time. It's jam-packed. People can get free articles about all of this and follow you on Facebook and Twitter and find out more about you at KathleenGage.com. Thanks for being a guest, and I hope we get to connect again.
Michelle, this has been great. Thank you so much.